guys, we are doing a body weight bar class today, and I just have a dining room table or a chair to hold on to for balance. So if you guys have a dining room chair or table or countertop or anything that you can use for some balance while we're standing, we're going to be using that a little bit. We'll also do some floor work, but other than that, you don't need any props. We're going to start standing. I'm actually going to move my screen a little bit so you guys can see me better. But you're going to stand nice and tall and have one hand on whatever you're using for balance. Your feet are going to be together. So feet together, knees together, zip up the inner thighs. Your outside hand can just be on the hip or wherever is comfortable. And just find somewhat of a neutral spine, so natural curve in your back. You're standing as upright and tall as you can. We're just gonna bring the toes out to either side of the room, so going into external rotation with those legs. It starts with the hips, travels through the knees and the ankles, and then toes together. Okay, toes apart, toes together. So you're keeping the heels connected the whole time here. You're starting that external rotation from the hips, making sure that it tracks through the knees and the ankles, so your knees and your toes turn out to either side of the room as we open the toes. Okay, two more. You're zipping up the inner thighs, squeezing the glutes, wrapping the backs of the legs together. Hold that opening. We're just gonna lift the heels, let them separate, heels lower. Heels lift, heels lower. Okay, so just up and down. Good, breathing through that movement. Still, we want the energy just going straight up to the ceiling. So energy out through the crown of the head. Try not to lean forward or back at all. You're just lifting straight up. One more time, we're gonna lift and hold. Draw your heels together. So heels are connected. You can check in with your feet, make sure that they're equal and you have equal weight on each foot. You want all those toes touching the ground. Heels are lifted nice and high, inner thighs are zipped up. From here, take that outside arm just slightly out in front of the body, and it'll be in a little bit of a bend through the elbow. So rounded arm out in front of the chest and the belly. We're gonna bend into the knees to come down into a little plie and lift nice long legs again. So inhale, bend, exhale, inhale, exhale. If this is too much balance, if it's like too much instability for you, you can always have the heels down for now, so flat feet. All right, and then just breathe normally. We're just gonna pick the pace up a little bit. So bending into the knees, lifting right back up, zipping up the inner thighs, squeezing the backs of the legs, the glutes wrapping the backs of the legs together. So glutes and hamstrings squeeze every time you lift up. Belly button lifts in and up under the ribs, so you're cinching the waist in on those exhales. All right, last three. Okay, halfway down, we're gonna pulse here. Little lift and lower of the hips and the knees. So up and down just a couple inches. It's a slow, controlled movement. And you can lift to straight legs again. Lower the heels. This time we're gonna roll through the feet. So we'll keep the feet flat to start, but we're gonna bend the knees. Low plie, you're gonna lift the heels. You can allow them to separate. Lengthen the legs and lower the heels, okay? If it's easier, you can keep the heels together, but don't worry too much if they separate on that lift. Just make sure they're together throughout the rest of the movement. So bending the knees, lifting the heels, straightening the legs, heels lower. Knees bend, heels lift, legs lengthen, heels lower. So you're just working through those feet and through the ankles, really strengthening the feet. Lifting the quads up away from the knees as you come up to standing tall. Tightening up all the muscles in those legs. All right, we're gonna reverse the direction with that. So you'll lift the heels first, bend the knees, lower the heels, stand. Lift the heels, bend the knees, heels lower, stand. Really nice job, you guys. So So just, again, trying to keep that torso as upright as we can. Working at the balance as best we can. All right, one more lift. Lower the heels, stand tall. You can turn the feet parallel, let the arm relax down, shake the legs out a little bit, lifting one heel at a time. All right, and then we're gonna step out into a wide second position. So wide feet, they're about shoulder width apart, maybe a little bit wider. You can actually take both arms out to the side now. So elbows are bent and lifted, arms are in that little bit of bend, so rounded arms out to either side of the room. We're gonna bend the knees into a low plie here. Make sure your knees are pointing towards your second and third toes. So the knees are in line with the hips and the feet. And then we're gonna lift, nice long legs, bend the knees, and lift. So you're rooting the heels into the ground. You're working through the backs of the legs to help you lift each time. Nice strong core, torso stays upright still, so we're doing our best to not pitch the torso forward. Good, last 4. All right, come back down into that low point. We're just gonna pulse the hips up and down. So little lifts and lowers. Working through the backs of those legs still. Big inhales, big exhales. All right, guys, we're gonna lift all the way up. We're gonna bend the elbows. So elbows in towards the ribs, come down, back down into that low plie. You're gonna reach your left arm up and over, big side stretch, lift that left heel off the ground. Inhale, come back down, low plie. Right arm reaches up and over. Okay, so you're reaching that arm straight up to the ceiling and across to the opposite side of the room. So you're lengthening through one side of the body at a time. Ideally creating more space between the ribs and the hip on that side of the body, more length. You can lift that heel each time you reach across, so stretching through the leg as well. You can always pick a pace up if you want to get that heart rate up a little bit. Good. We're going to turn this into a reach across the body. So come low, right arm reaches across the body. You're pivoting off that right heel, twisting, okay? So twisting from underneath the rib cage, the right leg straightens, come back down through center, so untwist, come low, left arm reaches across the body, left heel reaches, lifts, and the leg straightens, okay? So keep going like that. You guys can make sure to come low every time in between and pick the pace up once you get used to that movement. So you're pivoting off that back foot. Make sure you're breathing through that movement as well. Big inhales, big exhales. Last one each side. All right, you're gonna turn completely to your left, so left foot forward, the knee over the ankle, kind of a low lunge here, back leg is straight, heel is lifted. We're gonna pitch the torso forward, nice flat back, biceps up by the ears. Shift your weight onto that front foot, that left foot. So you can, if you wanted to, you could lift that back foot up off the mat. So that is what we're gonna start with. The back leg is super straight, point the toes. Lift the abs up into the back body, strong core. You're gonna start to lift that right leg up, up, up. So little lift, tapping the toes to the mat each time. Squeezing into the glute and the hamstring, right where they come together. Last 4. Hold the lift, bend the knee in towards the chest, bend the elbows in towards the belly as well. Inhale, everything lengthens together. Exhale, pull. Inhale, reach. Okay, so you can start to pick that pace up and start to just normalize your breath. Big inhales, big exhales. working through those low abs. Keeping the breath moving with you. Use the low abs to help pull that knee in each time. Last 3. All right, we're gonna step that right foot back. Bring the torso upright. Hips and shoulders are squared off to the wall in front of you. You're gonna be bending into that back knee, lowering it towards the mat. So you have a 90-degree angle in both legs. Okay, bring those arms down in front of the shoulders. From here, you're gonna straighten through your front leg, lift the torso a bit, lift those arms up, and then bend into your front knee to come down. Lengthen the front leg, lift the arms. Keep going like that. You guys can take that pace up once you get the movement, once you're a little bit more comfortable with it. Your back leg will lengthen a little bit as a result of that front leg lengthening. But the front leg is more of the mover. It's doing more of the work, not necessarily more of the work, but you're moving with that leg initially. 2 more. All right, guys. Go ahead and pitch the torso forward. Bring that right foot forward. Feet and knees together. You're going to sink low into a chair. So you're going to slip the hips down and back. Pitch the torso forward. Reach those arms up to the ceiling. Hips pulse up and down a couple inches. Breathing through that movement. Make sure you're looking kind of towards the front end of your mat. Not all the way up in front of you. You want the back of the neck to stay long. So just make sure there's no crease in the back of the neck. You're not looking down towards your feet, and you're not looking straight out in front of you. You're just looking a few feet ahead of the body. All right. We're going to stay low. Bring the arms down and back next to the hips. Palms face down towards the floor. You're going to press the arms up to the ceiling, kind of a little pulse. Palms stay facing down. Abs are lifted. Belly button in and up under the ribs, sinking the waist in. You're going to turn the palms to face in towards each other and add a little press back behind the body. So it's back in, but make it quick. Hips are low. Shoulders are down the back. Last 4. Good. Stand tall. You can roll those shoulders up, back, and down. You can bring the left ear to the left shoulder. Let the neck stretch out. And then same thing, other side, right ear to the right shoulder. 1 more time each side. Bring the neck out a bit. Breathing. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side of that leg work, okay? So, bend the knees, pitch the torso forward, reach those arms up to the ceiling, stick the tailbone out, make sure those abs are lifted up into the back body. You're gonna lengthen that left leg back this time between the toes. So the left leg is super long and energized. We're gonna lift that back leg up off the mat. So all the weight is into that front leg. Left leg up, up, up. And it'll be a little bit harder because that leg's already a little tired now from that first side. You guys got this though. Keep it going. Squeezing into that glute and hamstring. Alright, hold the lift. Pull the knee in towards the belly, into the chest, elbows in. Inhale, reach. Exhale, pull. So to make this easier, you could always step the foot to the mat, to the back, and to the front if you want more stability. Otherwise, you're hovering the foot both to the front and to the back. You can always slow it down, you can always modify. Alright, last 4. So we're gonna step that foot back, find your lunge, arms reach up to the ceiling. As you bend into both knees, 90-degree angles in both legs, arms come down. As you lengthen, arms lift up. So again, we're mostly lengthening and bending through that front leg. The back leg will naturally move a little bit with it and maybe change shape a little bit, but we're focusing on that front leg. Lifting the quad up away from the knee, squeezing through the glute and the hamstring. Keeping those abdominals turned on, nice strong core. Keep the torso upright. 2 more. All right, go ahead and bring those arms down and step the feet together. 1 more chair. You're gonna set those hips down and back. Push the torso forward, arms up towards the ceiling. We're just gonna hold it. You can lift that right heel. And then start little pulses with the hips up and down. Equal weight into both feet if we can, the best we can. Go ahead and switch those feet out. Right heel down, or left heel down, right heel up. Breathing through that movement. Those quads should be burning. Alright guys, if you can lift both heels, sink the hips a little bit lower, find that balance. Hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the heels down. And stand, bring those arms down. Shake it out a little bit. Okay, you're gonna come down into an all fours position, hands and knees. So, coming down onto the ground when you're ready. Hands right underneath the shoulders, knees right underneath the hips. From there, let's just take a quick cat-cow. So you're gonna stick the tailbone up towards the ceiling, let the belly drop down, lift the head, lift the chest. Exhale, round your spine. Inhale, tailbone up, belly down, head up, chest up. Exhale to round. Okay, find a flat back, neutral spine. You're gonna keep your left leg in that 90-degree angle. Point the toes, we're gonna lift that leg out to the side and back in. So just that left leg is moving. Lifting it away from the body. Out and up. Feeling that outer glute, outer thigh working as you lift the leg. Okay, we're gonna lift and hold. Straighten the leg out. Bend the knee. Bring it back in. Lift, hold. Lengthen. Bend. In. Lift, hold. Lengthen. Bend. In. Good for 4. And 3. And 2. 1 more. Nice job, you guys. Sit back for a moment into a child's pose. You can separate the knees if you like. Sit the hips back towards the heels. Drop the head down. Let the neck relax. Big deep breath. All right, and then again, we'll come back up into that same position. Same thing, other side. I'm gonna turn so you guys can see me, but you can stay where you are. So opposite leg. Keep the 90-degree angle, keep the flat back. Point the toes of the leg that you're lifting. You're lifting it directly up to the side. Keeping that deep bend into the knee. Lifting from your hip. Do your best to keep the foot and the knee in line with each other. So as you lift, your foot shouldn't be closer to your body than your knee is. They're lifting the same distance away from the body. That'll really change the whole movement if you are form is a little bit off, so just be aware of that. Okay, we're gonna add that lengthening, so lift the knee, straighten the leg, bend, pull it in. Lift, hold, lengthen, bend, in. You guys are almost there. Last 4. Okay, 2. All right, all right. Last one. And then you can take a quick child's pose, sit the hips back, let the back stretch out, take a breath. You guys are gonna come back up into a tall kneeling position now. So both knees underneath the hips. The arms are gonna reach straight out to the wall in front of you. Breath there. And then we're gonna hinge through the knees to take the whole body back a few inches. So you're gonna inhale, lean back from the knees. Think about pulling the thighs back in space. And then squeezing into the glutes and the hamstrings to help you come forward. Inhale takes you back. Exhale, forward. So breathing through that movement. Shoulders down the back. Neck is relaxed. 3 more like that. Okay, 1 more. All right, bring those arms down, shake them out a little bit. We're gonna go into some tricep dips so you guys can come to seated. You'll swing the legs out in front of you. Have the feet and knees together. Hands are gonna come back behind the glutes, almost underneath your shoulders. The fingers are pointing straight forward. You're gonna lift the hips from there. Come up into kind of a tabletop position with your hips, like a bridge almost. And then shoulders are down the back. You're looking forward, not up towards the ceiling or back to the wall behind you. And then bend the elbows. So your elbows bend, pointing straight back to the wall behind you. So that kind of dips the whole body down. Try to keep the hips lifted while we're working here. We're really trying to only move through the arms. Strong core. Last 4. All right, lower the hips down carefully, tailbone and booty down to the mat, and then you can sit up for a moment, bring the feet a little bit closer to you. Hands on your knees or shins, lift the head and chest, so lengthen the spine, open the knees, just stretching. Knees together, you can pull the mid back towards the wall behind you, tuck the tailbone under. Inhale, lengthen, knees open, shoulder width apart. Exhale, knees come together, scoop the abs, tuck the tailbone under. 1 more time. All right, guys. So go ahead and scoot forward a little bit if you need to. You just want a decent amount of space behind you to roll back. So arms reach straight out in front of you. You're sitting up nice and tall. Tuck the tailbone under. Roll the spine down slow. 1 bone at a time, the best you can. It might be a little bit faster than a different day. My abs are super sore today, so it's really hard to go back slow, but you want to make that roll back as slow and controlled as you can. You're gonna just relax the arms into the mat beside you. Your feet here are heels together, toes apart, so you have that Pilates V or first position turn out. We're gonna tuck the tailbone under, squeeze through the glutes and the hamstrings to roll the hips and spine up off the mat, coming up into that nice high bridge. At the top here, try to be balanced on the shoulder girdle. So you have shoulders down the back and shoulder girdle supporting you. You're not arched in the spine. And roll back down slow, 1 bone at a time. Same thing, you're tucking the tailbone under, rolling up. As you come down, reach the tailbone away from your upper back. So we're creating more space in between each vertebra.
having that result ideally in more length in your spine. Alright guys, we're going to roll up into that bridge and hold the lift. Okay, from here, lift your heels, keep them connected, bring the knees together, open the knees wide. So knees together, inner thighs zip up, knees wide, outer glutes, outer thighs squeeze. Breathing through that movement, keeping those abs turned on. Doing our best to keep the hips and pelvis as level and as stable as we can. 2 more. Hold the knees apart. Little pulses, pulsing the knees out to either side of the room. Okay guys, bring the knees just still wide but to neutral. Bring the heels down, roll the spine down slow. Alright, turn the feet parallel, hips width apart. So toes and knees pointing straight forward. Bend the elbows so your palms face each other above the belly. And then you're going to roll up from there. Tuck the tailbone under, roll up into that bridge. Roll back down, nice and slow. Roll up. Alright, one more time guys. We're going to come up into that bridge and hold it. Lift your left leg up into tabletop. Do your best to make sure that the hips didn't shift on that lift. They're still level. Pelvis is level and parallel. Okay, we're going to straighten that left leg to the ceiling. Flex and point the foot a few times. We're going to keep it flexed. Lower that left leg down to where it meets the right knee. Point the toes to kick the leg up. Flex the foot to lower. Point the toes to kick. Okay, so careful with your stability and your balance. You have those triceps really rooted into the ground to help keep you stable, and you're really standing into that right foot on the mat as well. Last one, bend the knee, bring the foot back down, roll your spine down slow. Same thing other side guys. Tuck the tailbone under, roll the hips up into that bridge. You're going to lift that left or the right leg up into tabletop, straighten the leg towards the ceiling, flex and point the foot a few times. Keep the foot flexed, let that leg come down to where it meets the opposite knee, point the toes to kick it up. So hips are still lifted, you're in that nice high bridge. Good, 2 more of those leg kicks. Bend the knee, bring the foot back down gently, roll your spine down slow. Alright guys, legs up into tabletop. We're going to reach the arms back behind the thighs. Nod the chin towards the chest, rock yourself up to seated. If you can with those abs. Ooh, come up however you need to if that rock up is not working. And then from there, we are just going to be seated in a nice tall position. So, stretch your legs out as long as you can out in front of you. Flex the feet. So you have as much length through the backs of the legs as you can, reaching your heels away from your upper thighs. Arms reach straight out to the wall in front of you. Try not to lean back at all. Try to really sit up, stack with the shoulders above the ribs, above your hips. You're going to take a big inhale. Exhale as you pull the mid back towards the wall behind you, rounding your spine and kind of looking down towards the thighs. Shoulders stay down your back. You're going to re-stack, lengthening the spine as much as you can, and then exhale, tuck. Scoop the abs in. Inhale, re-stack. Exhale, round. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale. Alright, inhale, lengthen, bring the arms down. We're gonna flip over into that all fours position one more time. Find a flat back. We're going into a plank. So find that all fours, step your left leg back, lift the abs up into the back body. Feel like you're really pushing the ground away. So those arms are energized. Step that opposite foot back. Here we're gonna shift the weight forward a few inches, hinging through the shoulders and the ankles, and then rocking the weight back a few inches, okay? So you're still in that nice high plank. You're shifting the weight just a couple inches forward and a couple inches back. Okay, if you need to, you can always be on your knees in modified plank. All right, guys, we're gonna lift the hips up and back. You can adjust your hands or feet here if you need to, but downward dog. And we're gonna pedal the feet out. So just bending and lengthening each leg one at a time in that down dog. So you're lifting one heel, dropping the other towards the mat, bending into that knee of the leg that the heel is lifted, and then just switch it out, okay? So right heel down, left heel up, and you'll switch, and switch, and switch. All right, guys, walk the feet forward towards your hands. You'll come into a little forward fold and hang heavy there if you can. So drop the arms, have equal weight into each side of each foot, equal weight through both legs. Take your head side to side, just relaxing the neck. And then slowly, one bone at a time, you're rolling up to standing. Head comes up last. You can roll your shoulders up, back, and down. We're gonna do some fold over work with your chair or your countertop, whatever you had to hold on to for balance. So grab that if you don't have it with you. And then you're going to overlap one forearm over the other. So one forearm goes onto the chair or countertop, opposite forearm goes on. You're gonna drop your forehead gently down onto those arms. Step your feet back so that they're underneath your hips and you have a nice flat back. Abs are lifted. Bend into the knees a little bit. Extend your left leg straight back to the wall behind you. Point the toes so the toes are on the mat. And then you're actually going to cross the leg over the body, like behind your right leg. From there, you're going to lift that leg up and out to the left. Bring it down to the right side of the mat. Lift it up and out to the left. So you're going into a low to high diagonal. Kick. Squeeze through that glute and hamstring. If your dog isn't trying to bite you, it should just be a fluid movement down and up. Okay? So down to the mat, lift. Down, lift. All right, guys, bring that foot down to the mat. Same thing, other side. You can always take a break if you need to stretch the arms out. We're taking that opposite foot. So right foot to the left side of the mat. Make sure the hips are pulled back. Lift that leg up and out to the left. Squeezing into that glute and hamstring. And the outer glute, outer thigh as well. So again, just that fluid movement. Down to the mat, up and out. Down to the mat, up and out. Big deep breaths. You guys are almost there. All right, last two. Okay, you guys are gonna take a figure four stretch. So you're bending into both knees and you're sitting the hips down and back. Just be careful of your balance if your whatever you're holding on to isn't super stable. Just be careful with the stretch there. So one one ankle crosses up and over the opposite thigh. Set the hips down and back. You're just stretching out the glutes, the hip, outer glute, outer thigh. Big deep breath. Try to breathe into it. They might be tight, especially if we're sitting a lot. Hips are pretty tight right now. Go ahead and switch the sides out, the legs out. All right, guys, both feet down. We're gonna do a little bit more standing work, just some balance, low ab work standing. So one hand holding on to whatever stable surface you have. Standing as upright and as tall as you can. One leg straight out in front of you. Bend into the opposite knee, the standing leg knee. A little bit of a bend so you're not left out. One leg straight forward, point the toes. Your outside arm can be like slightly rounded out to the side. We're gonna externally rotate that front leg and just lift the leg out in front of you. So we're working with that inner thigh and hamstring, and also really using those low abdominals. So try to tune in to the core to help that leg lift. Good for 4. Try to keep your spine neutral while you're here. All right, and then we'll have the foot and the whole leg parallel. Make sure you're still tall and upright. We're gonna bend the knee, lift it up in front of the hip, lengthen the leg towards the ground again, just tap the toes. Good, so using those low abdominals. Your outside hand can come onto the hip now if that feels better. Last 4. Good. Go ahead and bring both feet down. Shake the legs out a little bit. I'm going to move my chair so that I can do the opposite side, still looking at you guys, but you can just turn around if you like. So the opposite hand that was holding on to the stable surface is now on that surface. Nice upright torso, standing really tall. Bend into your standing leg a little bit. Take the opposite leg straight forward. Turn it out. So from parallel, you turn the toes and knee out to the side. That happens from your hip. It just tracks through the knees, the knee and the ankle. So we're gonna lift the leg straight forward. So lots of the inner thigh, and you can feel the hamstring working too a little bit here. You're also really we want to be able to utilize those low abdominals. So think really about activating the core so that the hip flexor doesn't take over. The more you think about those abdominals helping, the more they'll help and do the work and take off tension from those hips. All right, you guys have 3 more right here. All right, turn the foot parallel, the whole leg parallel. Bend the knee, lift it up in front of the hip. Gently lengthen the leg, tapping the toes to the ground again. Good, using your low abdominals to help pull the leg back up. All right, guys, both feet down. Shake it out a little bit. Okay, we are gonna do one more fold over set. So again, you can have your forearms out on that stable surface. You can have the opposite forearm if you remember which one was on the bottom last time. You can switch it up if you
like, but it doesn't matter too much. Step your feet back so that they're underneath your hips and you have a nice flat back. Bend into the knees a little bit. Lift the abs up into your back body. From there, we're gonna take that left leg back. This time, lift it up as high as you can. Bend into the knee, flex the foot, and then we're gonna bring that knee in to meet the standing leg. Lift it up. Bend it in, or just lowering the knee in. Lift the knee towards the ceiling. So, foot is flexed. That should really get you shaken a little bit, this movement. Try to keep the tailbone sticking out towards the wall behind you, so we're not rounding the spine as you bring the knee down. We're really working through that glute and hamstring to lift. Good for 3. Okay, bring it back down. You can lengthen the legs for a moment. You can drop the chest if you like. Just a little stretch, and then we'll do the same movement on the other side here. So bend into those knees again, flat back, abs are lifted. Opposite leg straight back. Lift the leg as high as you can. Bend the knee, flex the foot. Bring the knee down to meet that standing leg. Lift it up. Try your best to have that leg lifting just straight back and up towards the ceiling instead of out to the side at all. Shoulders are down the back. Nice strong core. Squeeze into that glute and hamstring right where they come together. It's where you're working from. Alright guys, bring it back down. Step both feet forward a bit. You can readjust as you need. We're just going to stretch, but you're going to hold on to that stable surface. Lean your hips back. And then you should be able to, as long as it's really stable, mine is not very stable, but you're leaning your hips back and you're taking the hips like side to side. So just kind of stretching the back out. You can round into the spine, lifting the back up towards the ceiling. You can bend the knees and drop the chest down, lengthen the arms. That should give you a good like shoulder and chest stretch. Okay, and then round your spine again, gently come up to standing. You can roll your wrists out a little bit. You can stand tall and just roll the shoulders up, back, and down. All right, we're gonna come back down to seated on the mat, and we're going into a little side stretch. So, carefully coming back down. You're gonna have your legs zigzagged to one side. So left heel to left glute, right foot in front of the left thigh. Left hand to the mat. You're gonna reach your right arm up to the ceiling. Big side stretch over so that that whole right side of the body gets stretched out, that space between the ribs and the hip. And even up into the lat, underneath the armpit, down the back. And then you can rotate carefully to that side as well if that feels good on your back. So both hands come to the mat on that left side. And then we're just going to stretch the other way. So the right hand to the mat, the left arm reaching up and over. Stretching through that left side of the body. You can gently twist towards the ceiling if that feels good on that one. Opening the chest up. Okay, gently come out of that. We're gonna just switch the legs the other way. The right heel to the right glute, left foot in front of the right thigh. Right hand down to the mat. Reach that left arm up and over, big side stretch. And then opposite stretch. One more time.
Both hands are gonna come to the mat on that right side, so gently twisting if that feels okay and if that's safe for your back, depending on any injuries or limitations you may have. But gently twisting from underneath those ribs, cinching the waist in, and then you can come back in to that side stretch one more time. We'll go the other way, last time, and then if you like, you can rotate the chest towards the ceiling if that feels good on that side. Might not. Gently come up out of that. You can roll the wrists out a little bit. Alright guys, we're going to do a little bit more abdominal work. So you can turn so that your feet and knees are together, your inner thighs are zipped up, your abs are scooping in. Okay, we're going to have hands back behind the thighs, sit tall. Tuck the tailbone under, round halfway back. Good. Hold that C curve, shoulders down the back. Round forward, sit tall, just 2 more like that. Alright, and then you guys are all set for today. Thanks for coming, great job.